You've wondered why certain people seem to pull away from you. Not enemies. Not strangers. People who smiled at you first. And at some point, quietly, you started to wonder. Is something wrong with me? But what if the distance they keep has nothing to do with your worth? And everything to do with your nature? You don't perform. You don't laugh on cue. You don't shrink yourself to make someone else feel larger. And in rooms built on those unspoken rules, your stillness reads as a threat. You've felt it. The conversation that suddenly goes cold when you say something honest. The group that tightens when you don't follow the script. The person who pursues you intensely then disappears the moment they realize you won't be redirected. It leaves a mark. You start scanning yourself for the flaw. Am I too direct? Too distant? Too much? But here is what's actually happening beneath the surface. Psychologists describe a trait called psychological reactance, the resistance people feel when they sense their freedom to influence someone is being threatened. When you can't be easily swayed, shaped, or made to perform. Certain people experience that as a loss of control. And loss of control feels to the social brain like danger. So they pull back. Not because you failed. Because you didn't comply. Here's what that means about you. You have a stable internal reference point. You don't need external approval to know what you think. You don't dissolve in the presence of a stronger personality. In personality psychology, this is linked to a high degree of autonomy, one of the three core psychological needs identified in self-determination theory. People with strong autonomy aren't cold. They're just harder to overwrite. And that quiet resistance, the one that frustrates certain people, is the same quality that makes you trustworthy, consistent, and real. Here's what's happening in the social brain. Humans are deeply wired for predictability. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning and social navigation, is constantly building models of other people. It needs to know, can I predict this person? Can I influence them? When you don't respond predictably to social pressure, when flattery doesn't move you, when silence doesn't scare you, that model breaks. And a broken model feels, neurologically, like uncertainty. Think of it like a chess player who's memorized every opening. And then meets someone who doesn't play by any of them. The discomfort isn't about you. It's about their inability to read the board. So how do you carry this without becoming guarded? Step 1. Distinguish between being ignored and being uncontrolled. When someone withdraws without reason, ask, did I do something harmful, or did I simply not comply? This is grounded in attribution theory. The way we explain others' behavior shapes how we feel about ourselves. Real example, a colleague stops including you after you respectfully disagreed in a meeting. That's not rejection. That's a response to your autonomy. Step 2. Stop softening yourself as an apology. The brain interprets chronic self-diminishment as a threat signal. It activates the stress response and lowers baseline self-worth over time. You don't need to be warmer. You don't need to be more agreeable. You need to stop treating your nature as an inconvenience. Real example, the next time you feel pressure to laugh at something hollow, don't. Let the silence sit. Notice that you survive it. Step 3. Invest in people who are not threatened by your groundedness. Relationship psychology shows that secure attachment, the healthiest form of connection, requires two people who can tolerate each other's autonomy without anxiety. Real example. The friend who doesn't need you to text back immediately. The colleague who disagrees with you and stays curious. These are the connections worth tending. Step 4. Let your stillness be information, not insecurity. When someone pulls away after realizing they can't redirect you, that withdrawal is data about them, not a verdict on you. Cognitive reappraisal, the practice of reinterpreting an event's meaning, is one of the most effective tools in emotional regulation research. Reframe the exit. Not as abandonment but as alignment revealing itself. Here is the one model to hold. Control seeks compliance. Connection seeks truth. When someone leaves because they couldn't steer you, They were never offering connection. They were offering a role. And you quietly, without drama, declined it. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are simply not a surface that everyone can write on. And that is not something to fix. The people who stay without needing to reshape you. Those are the ones who actually see you. Not a version of you they constructed. You. That kind of connection is rarer. But it's the only kind that's real.